All right, are we ready? All right. All right, so good evening. I'd like to call the January 18th, 2022 North Bend Planning Commission to order at 6:30 p.m. We're going to start with Commissioner roll call. And James?
Present.
Olivia? Present. Juliana?
Present.
And Susan Torgerson. Missing is Hannah and Brian. Do we know if they'd be coming or
I
not?
thought Hannah said yes, she'd be here, and Brian is out because he just had a baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay,
Yeah.
so we do have a quorum. And we're excusing Brian, and we're hoping Hannah can come.
Oh, I think that's her.
We still, yeah, that is her. Shoes. All right, and Hannah is present. Here she comes.
We heard you coming.
I know, I'm not.
This is roll call, we called you in, so you're here.
Perfect.
All right, so next, we're going on to public non-agenda items. At this time, we'd like to consider comments from the general public regarding non-agenda items today. As a reminder, there'll be no dialogue between the commissioners and the public. The commissioners are listening and considering your comments. Is there anyone who would like to talk about non-agenda items right now in the public?
If you're online, go ahead and unmute yourself and speak if you'd like to speak on any non-agenda items. They're here for the agenda items.
All right, it sounds like we don't have anybody who wants to speak on that, so we'll move on to our, what do you call them? The minutes, thank you. We need to approve 2 meetings worth of minutes. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to take a look at it, but it's the minutes from November 16th and December 8th. And commissioners, if you have any comments on them, now's the time to make them. Once we have taken a look at them, any commissioner can make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All commissioners want to vote on it? Say aye.
Aye.
All right, there's no nays, because they all said aye. Both of those have been approved. Our next item on the agenda is regarding the Planning Commission 2023 docket recommendation and work program. So basically, the city is going to recommend what we should be talking about over this next year, and presenting from the city. I'm not sure if it's Jamie or...
I will go ahead and start.
Okay.
Chapter 20.08 of our municipal code gives the procedures for any amendment requests for our comprehensive plan or development regulations. We do this annually, however, this year and next year is a little bit unique because we are in the process of updating our comprehensive plan. So one of the things that we are recommending here is not to look at any development code requests because we're going to be concentrating on the comp plan this year. Additionally, we are not recommending that any comp plan requests pass through independently this year or next year from our overall comp plan periodic review. So the request in section A of the staff report explains the request for redesignation on our land use plan and or our zoning map. My stance and recommendation on these is that through the comprehensive plan and the periodic update, that's the time when we should be visioning and taking in people's comments. So whether these properties have been looked at in the past, approved, denied, not approved, it doesn't change. That doesn't matter in this sense. I believe that my recommendation is we should consider and listen to all of these requests, whether, I'm not recommending we approve these requests, but that we consider them, look at them, and discuss them during the process of our comp plan update. There is an attached map to the staff report to discuss those locations. Next is section B in the staff report are our recommended amendments to the municipal code. A lot of these are cleanups or things that we've been working on generally over last year as well. And so these are cleanups that we've come across that are really fixing issues or bringing us into compliance with law, and that kind of thing. And as it says, even conflicts, cleaning up conflicts. Request C was things that was an item we got a request for, like I mentioned, the code amendment request, which we are not recommending that we move forward at this time. Should they wish to put this docket in after our comprehensive plan process is updated, we can then consider it then whether the planning commission or council would like to move forward with that on the docket list. I did note in section D, these aren't necessarily items that you are going to approve, but ones that are either already in process or were directed by council, or so they're automatically on staff's docket list and would come to you if they are required to come to you. Be happy to answer any questions you have. I can also post the locations, and I believe we have people here from the public who submitted some of these docket requests that would like to speak.
I mean, I know we're not going through it all right now. I was just curious on the second, on the docket, you know, for future approval, the Jeffrey D. Capital Partners. It's next to the Snoqualmie zone. Is that Snoqualmie, or is that?
Yeah.
Unincorporated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering what the zoning is there.
So Jeffrey Yee's request currently is all EP1 zone, and he's interested in keeping EP or some industrial in the flat portion, and then have some sort of residential or residential estates in the upper portion. And he's here to speak if you would like to hear from
Okay.
his interest as well.
And I believe a lot of those parcels, are King County parks. They were purchased by these parcels here.
The adjacent parcels are probably.
And this is the one we're talking about.
Great. So that's the park on the other side then?
Preserve.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Should I speak, or?
When they open it up to the public. Right now, it's clarifying questions of the commission to staff.
And then the number 4, the George Worsh park.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it seems like, you know, again, we'll review it as it comes, but it seems like that could be a good fit there. There's already some more.
Yeah, he's
Definitely.
he's not really asking for a zone change.
Mm-hmm.
He's asking for a change in the description of that area.
Yeah,
That, so, yeah.
yeah, it seems like it's fitting. Honestly, I think that staff report is great. I think I agree that it's a little premature to really get into some of the
Yeah.
outside stuff, just because we do have a lot coming, but.
Yeah, I mean, this saves it, gives us, you know, by doing it through the docket process, it allows us to bring to you a little more of an analysis when we bring recommended changes or discussion of these zone changes versus just someone coming from the public and making a new recommendation. So that's, you know, that's why we're recommending always say yes, because then it gives us a chance to have that discussion in a more than just through the public comment process.
It feels like it'll be more cohesive this way.
Exactly.
I have just one concern regarding the Jeffrey Yee, because I think it's, today it's only residential, and he's requesting commercial and industrial as well.
It's only industrial.
Oh, it's only industrial, so it will not affect our, the transportation plan that we approved? Do you think it will
So
in any way?
anything that we do as we go through this process may require transportation,
Oh, okay.
kind of a very small update, and we were aware of that when we started the plan ahead of time. Something had to come first,
Okay.
and so,
But that's very possible. The transportation element is kind of in a holding pattern.
Mhm.
It's been approved by council, but not yet adopted.
Okay,
We need to go back to do adjustments or different transportation analysis. We can do that.
okay, all right.
It probably assumed industrial, because that's the zoning and the underlying land use. And we also take into factors, critical areas and things like that. So there's a buffer, I would say, built in there. And development of one property, a little different or part of it different, shouldn't affect the whole transportation
but when we
plan.
look at all the possible changes we may be
Mhm.
discussing, it could affect it.
Okay. All right.
Any more questions?
What about A? I did have a question about the first part of B, the impact fee
Yes.
regulations. Verify allowances for improvements to be built in lieu of, is this kind of like when they come together and then, go ahead.
Yeah, so right now, some of our impact fees allow you to build the facility and get credit for it towards your fee. Other ones don't. So we want to make it so that all fees, you can go ahead and build the facility instead of just giving us the money and then we build it, that the developer can build it and get credit for those costs up to the amount of the impact fee.
Okay.
Which is kind of not fair. Sometimes they can, you know, it's like, all the impact fees should be similar. If we've got a list of projects that covers, if they build a portion of it, they should get a credit. So for instance, if there's a trail, then they have to build it because it's possibly in their frontage, but then they might not get credit for it on their impact fees, even though they're building a facility that impact fee is supposed to pay for.
Me too, agree, it should be just like the same across the
Yes.
board.
So that's what we're looking at doing, making it the same across the board.
We have a condominium map, is that in here, did I miss that?
So we have a section of code that refers to the process of condominium map, and a section of code that refers to binding site plans, and there's some conflict between the two.
Okay.
Because one came after the other, and the first one didn't get cleaned up.
Okay. So you're asking us to, not recommend the approval of 1, 2, 3, 4, correct?
Of
And-
C.
Of C, okay.
I'm recommending that our docket include A and B, and not C, and then D will automatically be included.
But when you recommend now is
I'm,
that we will discuss this
that
in
it
the
is
future.
part of our 2024 comprehensive plan
Okay.
discussion, not taken individually,
Okay.
but to be brought back as part of that discussion.
But just C.
Just
C wouldn't be.
He will not be
C,
recommended.
I'm not recommending
Okay.
to be part of our docket
Until we updated the,
until we've already
Comprehensive plan.
decided
Mhm.
what, yeah, so we've.
The idea is-
Cruiser.
If you're building the house, you gotta put up the frame before you start working on the siding and the windows.
Mhm.
Some of those are details, more of the siding and the windows, and we
Mhm.
wanna make sure we have the frame in the right place first.
Okay.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would, you know, he's IMU, what if council decides that area shouldn't be IMU, as an example?
Mhm.
Then we've gone through and changed IMU, and that doesn't even, it's not even that zone anymore. So we could be, you know, there could be changes in the process, and so we don't recommend making any changes specific to the zones at this time.
And for these specific locations where we're proposing amendments, and for all of them, we will have public hearings, we'll engage the surrounding properties. So there'll be another chance for comment and review.
All right.
Let's open it up to, public comments. When we open up to public comments, we wanna keep to like 3 minutes. And again, we, as commissioners, we won't be able to talk to you directly, but we will, definitely listen to what you have to say. Would you like to go first?
Let's say they're waiting, number one, but
That's okay, you're right here.
is Dan, or can I talk to you?
It's up to you, whatever you're most comfortable with.
My name is Jeffrey Yee, so give my address, or?
Yes.
So that 12117 Southeast, 261st Court in Kent. I own the approximately 24-acre property, kitty corner from Nintendo, going up the hill towards Colgate Farms, parcel that's back up there on top. All that property essentially is undeveloped there. And the reason being, there's no sewer, so we finally, city council approved that in this past August, so that's great. My property is currently zoned EP1, which is commercial, industrial use. Bottom portion, about 10 acres, 11 acres is flat. It's impacted by wetland and also Gardner Creek that runs along the border between my property and Puget Western. The other roughly 14 acres is hilly, slope, going up a hill. So the thought process here to make it make it a compromise for what I can get as far as development density and what's a low impact environment and low traffic impact is to put residential up on top, you know, side half-acre lots and with minimal footprint, so you're not taking out all the trees and a lot of terrain up there, and then put commercial. We're talking hard large housing engineering, which the city's worked with quite a bit, so we're talking about roughly 9,000 square feet of industrial flex space on the bottom portion. So the configuration I have now, roughly 13 acres, 24 acres is going to be for commercial purposes or setbacks or critical areas. I'm roughly going to have about less than 10 acres for residential, and of that, you know, we'll just put roads up there, access roads, and maybe just a minimal grading for half acres or for lots, and the rest of it will pretty much, won't say all of it, but we'll minimize the impact to the environment up there. So it's kind of like the best case scenario as far as getting something up there on top of the hill without doing too much damage to the environment and creating minimal traffic. So that's sort of the idea here to move forward, and hopefully the city can provide a amendment change so I can put residential, have residential use on top, and then we'll move forward with the commercial, like industrial flex space on the bottom, which hopefully attract business and create jobs and all that stuff that the city wants.
Okay.
So that's the plan, yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Saylor, would you like to comment?
Mr. Saylor, would you like to comment? Please unmute yourself.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we, our family home is the
State your
property.
name and address for the record.
My name is Duncan Sailors. Our address is 667 East North Bend Way. We're the property with the shop building across the street from Les Schwab on the one of the roundabouts in town here. We would like to possibly change our zoning or adjust the zoning on our property to be able to rent our shop out as a commercial space. So we're just interested in the planning commission's ideas on this and want to be involved.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
If there's anyone else who would like to speak on this item, please unmute yourself and go ahead. Last chance.
All right. All right, so, on this particular, option for us to do a recommendation, I'm going to, because I'm one of the owners on it, under Section A, I'm gonna abstain from the conversation and the recommendation vote. So, Olivia, you wanna call? Call for the vote, recommendation?
Are we done talking about it?
Have to be.
We don't have to, yeah.
Are we voting this is all together as one? We can't split this out?
You can. Staff just made a recommendation to approve it as proposed, but you're welcome to start with, if you want to start with Section A and just make a recommendation on the
I'm talking-
outside initiated land use comprehensive.
For Section A, do we have to vote for 1 through 4 all together, or can we split those up?
And again, it's a vote to consider it.
Yeah, it's really one vote to consider them on the comp plan update.
Yeah, we're just
Sorry.
We're voting if we want to talk about it, right?
Talk about it further.
remind me, I'm sorry, R4 or R6? Here, house, for residential, yeah. 4 houses per acre. Okay. Okay, does anybody, have any more questions or anything that they want to bring up, talk about? Okay, so again, we are just, making a recommendation here to talk about this later, we're not approving anything. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve, 2023 docket and work program recommendations, as outlined in the staff report. Well, for all sections, for section A, B, and C, and D.
As recommended.
Right, as
The ones that are
As
recommended
recommended,
for
yeah.
approving, and the ones
And-
recommended for denial.
So move to,
I think you said it good, as staff
Yeah,
recommended.
no, you're right, you're right. Okay, can I get a second?
I can make a second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
All right. Is there anything else that we need to talk about today? I think that was it.
That was it, so.
All right, so we are at the point in time that we're going to adjourn. Thank you for the guests for coming and speaking, and we are going to adjourn at 6:51.